Hey everyone, thanks for joining us in the last 7 days. I'm Brian Spellman.
And I'm Andrew Sparrow. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. Wow, it sounds weird saying all those numbers together. We're going to spend the next few minutes talking about news over the last week or so. It's been 2 weeks since our last show, so everyone had great holidays. We're going to look at how this news impacts our world of PLM, CAD, MES, MOM, MFG, and all those other TLAs.
First, we're going to fly into aerospace, drive on into automotive, talk manufacturing, and get high tech underway.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the aircraft tragedy in Japan, SpaceX coming to your cell phone, Airbus soaring high, Boeing changing aviation as we know it, the range of the Cybertruck.
In question, and much more. We've also got British Army, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Tesla, Rivian, Fisker, killer robots, LG, and all sorts of things going on down in Mexico. Ready, set, let's go.
I noticed you just
So
slipped in
first,
killer robots there. I can't wait till we get to that part. That sounds fascinating. But okay, we'll
do you know
start with
there's been a
aerospace.
lot going on over the last 2 weeks? Seriously, killer robots and a few other things. So keep on watching. I know we got a lot to cover. But first up, SpaceX launches its first set of satellites with direct to cell capabilities. So here's the first one. T-Mobile said on Wednesday that SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket on Tuesday with the first set of Starlink satellites that can beam phone signals from space directly to your smartphone. Other wireless providers across the world, including Japan's KDDI, Australia's Optus, New Zealand's 1NZ, Canada's Rogers, will collaborate with SpaceX to launch direct to cell technology. Loving this, gotta say, really am. Loving a bit of travel, loving to go to remote places. Imagine being at the top of Everest and saying, "Hey, honey, I made it." Gotta love that. Or any other remote places, whether that's deepest South America, doing the Great Wall of China with a cell phone in your hand and doing a video call. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. But it does bring a few number of challenges, of course, in the product lifecycle. Cost,
Mhm.
how much will it be? Regulatory, how's everybody, if I'm a cell phone operator and you're coming into my space with this as well, how's that going to play out at a local regulatory level? The infrastructure interplay, and of course, new security issues as well, having to take care of all of that. So, good news, but comes with challenges.
You know, we used to live in a world where you would go out into nature to escape technology and escape email and escape everything. And it seems like that
Yeah, that
that
was like
world.
50 years ago, wasn't it?
So Japan's crash marks a test of how new carbon jets cope in a disaster. There was a collision on Tuesday in Japan that marks the first time a
Yeah.
modern lightweight airliner has burnt down, and this is now being seen as a test case for how this new generation of carbon composite airplanes copes with a catastrophic fire. The Japan Airlines Airbus 350 crashed into a Dash 8 Coast Guard turboprop plane shortly after landing in Tokyo, and it's burst into flames. There were 379 people aboard who were all evacuated, but 5 of the 6 Coast Guard crew were killed. The aviation industry is keen to see what this tells us about the survivability of high-tech composite airliners, which have really transformed the economics of long-haul flight and airplanes in the past decade. This crash is the first real case study that we have from a fire perspective and from a survivability perspective. This is fascinating. It's tragic that 5 people lost their lives. It's amazing that 380 didn't. And it's interesting to see where this is going to go as far as what's happening with composites. So, Andrew, what do you think that, given with all the work we've done with the integration of composites and A&D and automotive, does this put into question the use of how PLM manages composites?
I think it could also, I think number one, yeah, it could. Number two, I think well, number one, actually, it does potentially with some people put into question composites usage. But honestly, composites is the way to go. It's giving us increased fuel efficiency. Its resistance to fatigue over time is pretty much unrivaled. However, we do need to acknowledge there are challenges that come with it, including structural integrity issues when exposed to intense heat for extended periods. Um, the good news, however, is that all A350 passengers were evac'd safely. I mean, that's amazing. Would that have happened with traditional skin on an aircraft? Not sure. So I think there is some good news from that. Obviously, putting aside the sad loss of life to the Coast Guards that were in that kind of Dash 8 as the 350 was coming down. For me, Boeing or JAL, if they were to say, what can we do more on our product life cycle to help with these challenges? I think we'd be looking at kind of four big areas for me. One, offering a lot of expertise in material testing and simulation to evaluate the behavior of carbon composites in these really extreme conditions. Secondly, safety certification, collaborating on the development of comprehensive testing procedures and documentation. Thirdly, develop training simulations, even for the firefighters with these new materials, which you can do through simulation now within product life cycles. That's pretty cool, and that will really upskill them far quicker. And I think lastly, all the necessary documentation is in place to demonstrate compliance with safety standards and facilitate regulatory approval. So I think there's a lot we can do with the data that's coming back through product lifecycle to handle these situations even better and better.
One thing you just touched on that I don't think we often think about when we look at PLM is what happens once your product is into the market and is in use and things go wrong. It took 6 hours to put out this fire, which raises the question of, do we need some sort of training, specialized training for emergencies or disasters with composites? And so a lot being looked at here.
Yep.
The British Army has secured the cutting-edge K9A2 self-propelled howitzer from Hanwha Aerospace. This is packed with advanced features like an automated turret, composite rubber trucks, a remote-controlled weapon station, and it sets the stage for future-ready warfare. This also promises AI-powered autonomy, enhanced lethality with a 58 caliber barrel, and reduces the crew requirements needed, which is a lot happening with military innovation here.
Well. So next up, Airbus, in a remarkable feat, its 2023 delivery target, likely handling over 733 planes, an industry record, with 579 being the A320neo single-aisle jet and 57 A350 wide bodies. So CEO Guillaume Faury's persistence in maintaining the target actually proved successful against the naysayers, and he overcame a lot of initial supply chain challenges. So full marks to Airbus. Additionally, Airbus is poised to break records in 23, anticipating over 1,800 gross orders at close when they finalize that this month, including major deals with EasyJet and Lufthansa. And the last thing, which I think is quite interesting, is the surge reflecting demand post-pandemic is starting to bring renewed interest in the A380 mega jumbo, super jumbo, I think they call it, which is really interesting. I've never flown on this A380, and they actually stopped manufacturing it, and I'm guessing that you're the same as well, Brian.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff, hey?
Yeah, the A380 is a pretty big thing to be flying in the air. So hopefully one day I'll get to hop on one of those, workout while flying.
Yeah,
but
you bet.
Yeah,
you bet.
We've got a subsidiary of Raytheon Technologies that just secured a modification to task order. The Department of Defense granted $407.6 million modification for the development of the hypersonic attack cruise missile, which is supporting the Southern Cross Integrated Flight Research Experiment. This follows a major milestone when back in September of 2022, there was a collaboration between Raytheon and Northrop Grumman that secured $985 million task order. The objective here is to build and demonstrate an air-launched scramjet-powered HACM weapon systems capable of operating at speeds exceeding Mach 5. Under this latest award, the Department of Defense has outlined that Raytheon is expected to carry out the development work in Arizona all the way through December 2028.
Wow. Let's just talk hypersonic missiles for a moment. This is big news in defense technology, but guess what? There's more to it than meets the eye. So diving into CAD PLM for a moment and manufacturing. In defense and aerospace, building a hypersonic attack cruise missile isn't a walk in the park. It's a tricky one. CAD PLM steps in, it deals with the precision, the security, and the military standards, which are no joke.
Mm-hmm.
CAD PLM solutions are really very much kind of the heroes of this whole new innovation, making sure every part of these high speed missiles works exceptionally well and under extreme conditions. But manufacturing these is a really, really tough challenge. So picking materials that can handle the speeds to keep the quality in check is no easy task. One slip and the consequences, of course, are massive, because one of these lands in the wrong place, we've got a big problem going on. But hold on a second, we got hope there as well. Get your mess mom in. They're here to tackle these challenges. Our tech solutions that we bring around mess mom collaborate, ensure all the rules are followed, and it really kind of amps up the overall efficiency in defense and aerospace manufacturing. So love this stuff. We've got it. Love to deal with this. Get your CAD PLM, your MESMON working well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Northrop Grumman has successfully secured a game-changing 9-year, $700 million contract with the the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA. The contract aims to deliver an advanced integrated cloud and sensor platform, propelling the agency's technical capabilities into a new era. Northrop Grumman plans to utilize model-based systems engineering to consolidate DIA's diverse technical capabilities, revolutionizing their digital landscape. The strategic move is anticipated to bring operational efficiencies and enhance the collection, processing, and analytics tools crucial for intelligence operations. So, NBSC, Brian, don't talk about this very often, do we? It's good to hear it, and you and I both know it's there consistently in A&D and now in automotive. What do you think? What's the significance on this one?
Well, I think you just mentioned that, CAD PLM was kind of the superhero, and talked a little bit about maybe Mess Mom was sort of a superhero. I think that we're going to have another action hero figure coming in, which is NBSC, because as you mentioned, it's a term that we rarely see pop up in the news, but we know it's huge for the PLM sector, and it's been gaining a lot of ground over the past few years. MBSC, Model-Based Systems Engineering, encompasses a methodology that helps support the development of complex systems. You've got requirements, design, and now analytics, verification, validation. All of these things have to come together in a pretty complicated way. So we've got the idea of a digital modeling environment that's going to provide advantages over the old school way of doing things, which were all document-based. In the document-based approach, we had documents that were just generated, authored by different people, trying to figure out everything that's happening from various stakeholders. So what Northrop's doing here is looking at a way to have a digital model approach, a single source of truth for the system that's built up with discipline-specific views of the systems with all these same model elements. It's really fascinating when you dive into what's happening with all these complicated ways of looking at things. So I think this is huge to see this as something that is part of a big project and is really going to change the way the process is done as a whole. I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
and
great.
Speaking of Northrop has also just secured a $122 million DLA contract for the Air Force's B-1 bomber radar logistics requirements. They received this performance-based logistics requirements contract from the Defense Logistics Agency, the DLA. And this B-1 aircraft is designed to provide the Air Force with a long-range strike capability, and large and varied payload. Meanwhile, the AN/APQ-164, which is the aircraft's offensive radar system, is used to target detection, location tracking, and accurate weapon delivery.
Interesting. BAE Systems and AMS Integrated Solutions have inked a deal to provide critical MRO services for artillery systems in Ukraine. This agreement focuses on specialized artillery support directly to the armed forces of Ukraine, utilizing existing maintenance centers within the country. BAE Systems, already providing artillery systems throughout UK government aid, will now team up with AMS to enhance their MRO services. Notably, the UK, the second largest contributor to Ukraine's military assistance, has committed now $5.8 billion since February of 22. The strategic partnership aims to deliver a comprehensive support package ensuring maximum effectiveness and readiness for Ukraine's artillery systems.
We've had a lot of big news so far happening in this aviation sector or news section here, but this one really is a game changer. Boeing
Yep.
has the X plane, which could change aviation as we know it. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, has recently selected the Aurora Flight Sciences for Phase 3 of the Control of Revolutionary Aircraft with Novel Effectors program. During Phase 3, Aurora is going to build the X-65, which is a full-scale X-plane that demonstrates the viability of using active flow control actuators for primary flight control. AFCs could one day replace the flaps and rudders that we see on aircrafts that are used to maneuver the aircraft. And the hope is that AFCs will improve aerodynamics, reduce weight, and mechanical complexity to supply the effectors that we see on the surfaces of airplanes with pressurized air control to control the way the plane rolls, pitches, and yaws. This is going to change basically the way we fly.
This is not just an evolution, it's a revolution in aircraft design. Let's be honest. What makes it so extraordinary is that the AFC could potentially replace traditional flaps and rudders, the tried and tested and trusted components we've relied on now for decades to maneuver aircraft. The big idea is to enhance aerodynamics while simultaneously reducing weight and mechanical complexity. Implementing this cutting edge design effectively requires not just engineering brilliance, but also a seamless and robust, dare I say it, PLM system. So a top-notch PLM system is like the overall manager of this. So from design and development to testing and deployment, it will maximize collaboration across the teams, streamlines the communication, and most importantly, managing the complexity of introducing such a groundbreaking innovation. Really exciting. Let's see where this goes and how quickly it goes. That's like the second or third most exciting thing going on in this news show. Next, DARPA has enlisted Raytheon for a game-changing mission. Under a $10 million two-year contract, Raytheon will design the power system, a wireless airborne relay system for DARPA's Energy Web Dominance program. Listen up. Imagine this, picture this. So you've got your high-altitude unmanned aircraft with a laser-based power capability that beams energy into contested environments. It creates an energy web for military logisticians to route power wherever it's needed, powering robots with indefinite endurance. How cool is that?
Wow.
There is a catch, however. Hold on. There's not that much of a catch. There is a trade-off. About 20% energy loss when converting electricity to light and another 50% back to electricity. So into light, back to electricity. But this innovation aims to overcome the military's energy challenges, providing flexibility in challenging environments. How cool, how scalable could this be? I mean, not just military, everyday life. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, that is a huge loss. 20% and then 50% is a big loss of energy. But if you're producing enough, then I mean, this is a huge game changer.
It's early days. It's only going to get better, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's going to get better. Efficiencies are going to improve. So yeah.
It's fascinating how this is. I mean, the idea of basically having power to places that you're not having to route it to or create an infrastructure for is fascinating. Yeah, I mean, this has been a big aerospace section with lots of news. It makes me feel like we are definitely living in the future. 2024 is the year of science fiction, apparently. So let's just drive right into automotive.
There we go. Hey, Brian. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Greg, Happy New Year.
Hey,
Happy New Year. Good to see you too. Uh, I guess we'll kick it off with Tesla. Tesla is always in the headlines, right? Tesla delivered a
yep.
record number of vehicles in Q4 2023, which is helping the company hit its 2023 target of 1.8 million. They delivered 484,507 total vehicles. Now, they delivered that in Q4, but that did fall short of the 526,000 vehicles that the Warren Buffett-backed BYD handed over, mostly in China. But that suggests that the car buyers were looking for cheaper models in a higher interest rate economy. It makes a lot of sense. Tesla is still ahead of BYD for the entire year for all of 2023, but the Chinese firm delivered a total of 3.02 million vehicles, including about 1.4 million plug-in hybrid EVs. Rivian also reported deliveries on Tuesday of this week. The company did miss market estimates amid a broader pullback in EV demand. More about that later.
Yeah, it sounds like as we talked about a bit last year, their demand for EVs is a concerning point that is dropping back. But at the same time, Ford just posted its highest U.S. auto sales since 2020. On Thursday, Ford said that it has its best auto sales since 2020, which is pretty impressive, sustained by the demand for cars and pickup trucks. The Detroit automaker said vehicle sales rose a little over 7% to almost 2 million units in 2023, whereas back in 2020, their new sale vehicle was just over a little over the 2 million. Ford's hybrid vehicle sales were up more than 25% to 133,000 units compared with last year, which accounted for about 7% of the total sales. With sales of 1.99 million vehicles, Ford was the third largest automaker by sales in the United States, just behind General Motors and Toyota.
Impressive sales figures. For me, underscores a really strong, resilient manufacturing strategy. It showcases their ability to meet and sustain consumer demand. It's really timely for a sector which is full of startups struggling to get into manufacturing, and to show how a legacy manufacturer, respectful of manufacturing challenges, can do things really at scale. Achieving the highest US auto sales since 2020 is a testament to this and the surge in hybrid vehicle sales. It's up more than 25%. So it highlights their commitment to eco-friendly as well. Additionally, they secured second position in US EV sales, led by the success of the F-150 Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E, reflecting Ford's capacity for innovation and responsiveness to market trends. As they continue to solidify their position in the industry, Ford's manufacturing achievements are undoubtedly a key driver of the success in the competitive automotive market.
Yeah, I mean, you're both right? Ford's latest sales figures, they're not just about numbers. They're a testament to their strategy and intentionality behind workforce engagement, right? I mean, the shift towards hybrids and EVs like the F-150 and the Mustang Mach-E shows their adaptability in a changing market. You mentioned that, but their recovery and growth post UAW strike, which didn't end all that long ago, but it was still impactful to the bottom line for 2023, right? That speaks volume about their internal culture and employee relations. I mean, it's truly impressive how Ford is really leading the charge in the sustainable automotive future. But yeah, I mean, that's thanks to their dedicated and skilled workforce. Of course, I always say that. I mean, in fact, right now would be a good time for a new recruitment campaign. I can see it now. Ford, powered by people. And then you've got all these smiling faces and testimonies of workers who enjoy what they're doing every day, and a few different video ads, employee wellness check-ins, etc. I mean, I could get pretty excited about it. But
you're now into marketing and advertisement.
That's right. Shifting gears from one EV automaker to another, Rivian's R2 will be its Model 3 moment. Rivian stock slid after Q4 deliveries slipped, but there is more to that. So I know they announced on Tuesday, after releasing Q4 and full 2023 results, despite beating its 2023 production goal, Rivian's deliveries fell short of what Wall Street was expecting. So Rivian did say that it expected a gap between the deliveries and production due to Amazon limiting EDV intake during the holiday season.
Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom here for Rivian, because the deliveries were up 74% from last year. though they were short of Wall Street's expectations. They did beat their full year production goal. And this growth comes despite higher interest rates, despite more competition. Ford just said that its F-150 Lightning was the best-selling electric truck through November, which topped the R1T. But after ending that exclusive agreement with Amazon, Rivian signed AT&T as its second commercial partner just last month. The EV maker is also preparing to begin construction on its second manufacturing facility. So it seems like things might be picking up a little bit for Rivian here.
That is good, because I know they weren't going to do the second facility until they hit their targets on their first one in Normal in Illinois. So that means they must have got that up now, which is good news. So keep on trucking, Rivian.
Speaking of trucking, thanks for that transition, Andrew. I could not help that one.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Speaking of trucking, Tesla's Cybertruck drives 254 miles in a highway range test. Those who are paying attention know that the estimated range here was 320. So this is not necessarily the best news, but it was a cold and it was highway driving only. So we'll see.
Here's a good one for you. Love this. In California, self-driving cars are immune to traffic tickets. Anyone living in San Francisco knows that the city has been a testing ground for hundreds of self-driving cars, and there's probably a very good reason why. In light of a series of incidents, including a pedestrian who was seriously injured by a Cruise robo-taxi last year, California law enforcement has its hands tied when it comes to issuing moving violations when no human is behind the wheel. I want my autonomous vehicle. Speeding. Go for it.
I would assume the argument is
out.
That's right. I would assume the argument is you're still responsible, right? You're still responsible for managing the vehicle, even though you're not driving. You're still the one who set it in motion. But
why?
I'm not
again. It's all about the law, isn't it? The law is not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
I expect there's going to be some sort of regulatory change coming as this becomes more and more popular.
Yeah. Well,
yep.
As you know, laws always follow technological advances. So in other news, Fisker pivots to hybrid strategy of direct sales, plus dealer partners offering no haggle pricing. Fisker has announced a new EV sales strategy, which I think is a bit interesting, that remains asset light, but can help boost sales of its flagship Ocean model. So Thursday morning, Fisker shared plans to adopt a network of approximately 100 dealer partners in addition to its direct sales model. That'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
And Faraday, the California EV startup, Faraday Future, just relaunched delivery of a luxury $309,000 electric car, while at the same time they're at risk of being delisted from NASDAQ due to plummeting share price.
309,000.
Nice pocket.
I remember that was designed about 5 or 7 years ago, I think.
It's 300,000 and it was designed 5 or 6 years ago, 5 or 7 years ago. That's
I think so.
No.
Yeah. Must be good. Must be amazing.
That's true.
Tesla is banned from driving schools because of new turn signals. So good old Tesla in the news. Let's have a go at them again. New Tesla vehicles are starting to get banned from driving schools in Norway, where Tesla is becoming the most popular car brand. The problem, Tesla's new turn signals seems to be the issue. In Norway, where electric vehicles are the norm, because I think they're the highest per capita EV purchasers globally, virtually every new car is electric. Kids are now starting to learn to drive in EVs, and Tesla is the most popular. But now some driving schools are banning new Tesla vehicles from being used due to a feature that Tesla first introduced in the S and the X, but it more recently made its way into the 3. That's the lack of stalk for turn signals. Instead, you got like your buttons going on. So if you can imagine you turn in around a roundabout or a rotunda, okay, you've got that going on. If you're trying to turn it, but you've got to press your buttons, then you've got a major problem. That's what they're saying. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I mean, kids are really good at video games these days, right? So I'm not sure that this is really going to be that much of a problem. But it's interesting that I think the biggest reason behind this, at least that Tesla said, was they are basically thinking you're just going to not need turn signals anymore because of automated driving. So they're going to get rid of them altogether eventually. So it's, it's one of those advances in technology. And speaking of technology,
There we go. Hey, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph. Hey.
Hola, Greg. Hola.
That's
Hola.
great.
Hola.
Well, I'll kick us off with the next news article, right? U.S. Commerce Department said on Thursday that it plans to award Microchip Technology (MCHP.O) $162 million in government grants to step up U.S. production of semiconductors and microcontroller units, key to the consumer and defense industries. Now, the funds are going to allow Microchip to triple the production of mature node semiconductor chips and microcontroller units at 2 different U.S. factories. One in Colorado, that's $90 million of that $162 million is going there, and the other $72 million is going to a similar facility in Oregon. The announcement comes as the U.S. wants to shift production of such chips from foreign sources like China back to the U.S., so they're doing some reshoring, which is always exciting. Now, the award, which is not yet finalized yet, is the second award in a $52.7 billion program, Chips for America, that Congress approved. It sounds very congressional, in August 2022 to subsidize semiconductor manufacturing and research. The first award of $35 million to a BAE Systems facility to produce chips for fighter planes was announced in December. So we'll start seeing some more of that roll out as 2024 progresses. Now, considering Microchip Technologies expansion plans, Joseph, I'd love to get your thoughts on $162 million boost. Are you seeing any potential changes for manufacturing in this context as things are emerging?
Of course, yes, Greg. You have both. In the positive side, you have an increase in economy and good capabilities to scale, but also you're going to have more challenging different things to do and increasing the complexity right here. And how you're going to manage the workforce, also your integration with technology, and also how you're going to maintain your operational efficiency that is such this significant expansion, right? So I think considering all of these critical role, Greg, gonna be really important because you have all of those chips in different industries. For example, in cars, it could be washing machines, cell phones, internet routers, airplanes, or different stuff for defense, right? So that's gonna be really challenging for manufacturing and going to become more significant, scaling up your production while maintaining quality standards. And I think that's going to be really crucial. What do you think?
I think one aspect of this too is I believe part of this is the idea that so many chips that we have are manufactured in China, and chips are a small, tiny bit of all of our electronics. We don't necessarily know everything that goes on in those, right? And it's a security aspect here too. So part of this is looking at the national security risk that could be posed by having Chinese-made legacy chips. And I think that's also part of the driving force of what's happening there too. But speaking of security, a report revealed that a Tesla engineer was attacked by a malfunctioning robot in the company's Gigafactory in Texas. This sparked safety concerns and allegations of underreported injuries and workers' death and raised questions about Tesla's compliance with agreements and safety practices in the state. 2 witnesses reportedly watched in horror as their fellow staff member was physically assaulted by a machine that was designed to grab and move freshly cast aluminum car parts. The robot in question reportedly pinned the working man who is programming software for 2 disabled Tesla Bionic machines in close proximity before burrowing its metal claws into the employee's back and causing a trail of blood across the factory surface.
It all sounds a little dramatic, I've got to say. Obviously, extremely unfortunate when you start talking about trails of blood and things like that. But I mean, isn't this a classic case of needing good PLM, digital manufacturing, and MESMOM? For me, this is fundamental here. PLM for a start is going to ensure you've got safety in design and manufacturing, while digital manufacturing is going to offer real-time insights, and MESMOM is going to enhance your efficiency and safety. So if you embrace these technologies, it's essential for operational excellence and workplace safety in manufacturing. Continuous improvement, robust digital tools are key, fundamental for safer and efficient manufacturing environments. Hopefully these things don't happen near and after.
Yeah, I mean, as we're integrating more robotics into the workplace, the ethical dimension of employee treatment and safety is becoming even more significant and complex. I mean, it's crucial for companies to proactively foster that culture, right, where safety and ethical considerations are at the forefront of operational strategies, daily decisions, et cetera, right? This incident is, I think, a stark reminder that workplace safety and compliance is going to have to evolve alongside technological advancements. So if following the legal limits is the lowest form of ethics, we need to start pushing companies to start prioritizing the well-being of their employees. I mean, as we're seeing in California with these self-driving cars and not getting tickets for it, right? The law seems to be years behind the technological curve. So really, it's going to be up to companies to be thoughtful in their policies moving forward.
Yeah, this just gives a little more emphasis to your previous marketing campaign you proposed of Ford powered by people, as opposed to the robots happening here. Joseph, what do robots mean for you?
Well, I went through all of this in the real life with personal experiences, and it's very important to keep clear all your regulatory stuff, compliance stuff, and also what is happening in your engineering department. Because when you are putting in practice all the things of your product, for manufacturing, it's really important to have that. Doesn't matter if you are programming a robot or probably another kind of automated equipment. So it's very important to keep clear all the time the safety stuff. So yeah, I think that is important. But I have a new one. SKF inaugurates the fourth plant in Mexico. So looks like the factory is the fourth in Mexico, will develop and manufacture deep groove ball bearings for North American car manufacturers, as well as taper roll bearings for industrial customers, for example, in the agricultural market and for commercial vehicle applications. This facility, guys, will support the strategic development in the Americas and meet customer needs as focus of electrification increases, SKF official state in a new release. So it looks like, guys, we spoke about it, how it's growing up, all the industry in Mexico. And for automotive sector, SKF is bringing and manufacturing all of these mechanical components that we need. Doesn't matter if that is a traditional engine for a vehicle or an EV, right? We keep different mechanical components in the original design for a car. Yeah.
I think one thing when we think about technology and manufacturing, we often think about all these new innovations and changes and don't really think about, the idea that so many pieces of things that are moving require ball bearings, require roller bearings, require everything that SKF is talking about manufacturing here. And, ball bearings have been manufactured for decades upon decades, right? These are things that have existed and made machines move correctly with low friction. But of course, to work correctly, you really need them to be as spherical as possible to get as little friction as we need or as possible. So we've got this thing that's been manufactured for decades, but a whole new manufacturing facility being built right now. So what has happened in the world of PLM in today's technology and modern manufacturing with modern PLM practices to help create more efficient, more precise manufacturing of these old standards?
Yeah. So right here, it doesn't matter if we are innovating. We need to keep to keep the mobility and consider all the stuff to make your mobile and the function really working for you. So in this case, for automotive, it's really important to keep the traditional stuff, trying to innovate. But I insist you need to keep the traditional stuff with the mechanical engineering And also for PLM, we can have different innovation to create that, to go to the market faster, could be, but the traditional, and we have that kind of technology since the last decades, right?
Yeah, to me, this is all about execution on designs and dreams and things like that. And to me, it's just a real-time MES that is fundamental to SKF's success. I mean, if it's their fourth plant, I would imagine they've got a lot of good quality control processes and systems in place. But for me, get your MES in, get your MOM in, real-time optimization of your processes, minimize your errors, get your quality gates in place, and ensure you got quality and reliability from end to end. That's the first thing that needs to be in place at this new factory, as well as the structure.
Yeah. You know, guys, I just want to say that this has been a bunch of riveting stories, and it's time to bolt. So just, tune in next time for more twists, more turns, more screws, more whatever. And we hope you all joining us on the last 7 days.
Sounds good. See you next week.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.